This is Newport Beach on Sydney's northern beaches. It's a place where the locals come for a relaxing morning swim, to watch the sunrise, and to play with their dogs. But it's also home ground to some of the country's youngest and fittest athletes who compete in elite surf lifesaving. 18-year-old Emily Doyle is Newport's Competitor of the Year for 2019.
It's a funny story. So Mum told me this a few years ago, but since we don't really live near the beach, she saw an article for like manly nippers in the newspaper and then just kind of thought it'd be a good idea to take me and my older brother down and just do nippers for like, just try it out and see if we like it. I liked it, but my brother had like a terrible fear of like the waves and stuff, so like Mum and Dad kind of kept him down there to like help him like build up his courage, and I just kind of was there on the side until I was old enough to do nippers, and I've just kind of been like stuck with it ever since then.
Emily and the other Newport athletes are training for the Kellogg's Nutri Ironman trials, and with 4 different disciplines to train for: swim, board, ski, and running, it's no easy feat.
An Ironman's hunger needs Ironman food. Kellogg's Nutri-Grain. The rest is up to you. Kellogg's Nutri-Grain. You only get out what you put in.
So Wednesday starts off with the 4:30 wake up, and I get up first and then I get my sisters up, and then we kind of just go to swimming for 5. We start at 5, finish at 7.
150 back, so you have to be moving on that straight into 875 on 110 of backstroke, and then you get 100 easy, okay? You guys can do that in either lane 7 or 8, your choice. Alright, head on over. We'll go the A guys over here in 1, 2, 3, maybe a 4th, and then the B guys in 4, 5, 6, 7.
I guess because I've literally been swimming since I was like 1 or 2 years old, like it's something I've just been doing my whole life. Having that, it kind of like made me like a really strong swimmer, and like I've just been swimming non-stop competitively since a young age, and that kind of gave me like a really good swimming base in lifesaving. And like in an iron race, usually the swim legs where like races can be like made or break, and like I kind of use my swim leg to my advantage because I've just been doing it way longer than board and ski. I get out a little bit early because I have work at 7:30, and then I work from 7:30 till it's usually about 1 o'clock now. Joma and Emma and Roberta until 1:30. I need to like work part-time because surf lifesaving is such a demanding sport, and I'm one of 6 kids with not an amazing income family, so like I know that I have to work to help myself and the family so we can do what we want to do. I'm going to close. And then get my sisters and brothers, and we go to Newport for training at 2:30 with irons then.
Oh yeah, you know, like
any waves? No bad surf. Oh, it's okay. I've seen nicer. Why are you not doing ski? You don't need to be ski actually. Okay, we're here.
The Nutri-Grain trials are a big deal because, to be honest, there's not a whole lot going on in this sport, you know. there's a huge amount of training goes on, and they race in really, really serious carnivals only a few times a year.
Nick Carroll is a journalist and Newport's open board coach, and he's trained Emily for about 2 years.
And so when it comes to qualifying for those pro events, it's a real crunch time for all the younger athletes. And so they take it very seriously.
Really going to need to quiet down and listen to what I'm going to say, okay? Otherwise, you will forget it and then you'll make a fool of yourself during the set. Very, very specifically designed for the trial. Isn't that fun?
She's an incredibly hard worker.
First thing you do, take the skis out.
I think her strength is just a kind of indomitable inner will. You know, I'm sure that's got something to do with all the swimming she's done over the years. And she never leaves anything behind, you know, it's always on. She's always on. It feels to me like a lot of the work is done on her terms. She engages with the coaching from time to time, but a lot of the time she's running her own race in the sets. She doesn't cut any corners though, and it's pretty full on.
I grew up being very independent of myself because I wasn't the sole kid in the family. There was like 5 other siblings that my parents had to look after. And I've been kind of like going away to like carnivals like on my own with my brother and like without our parents because mum and dad couldn't come because they had work and other kids to cater for. I don't like relying on other people. Like I really like kind of doing things on my own. So like just growing up independent kind of made me mature a lot earlier than a few kids, I think.
After training on the beach for nearly 2 hours, Emily and the Newport team go to running training at the local athletics track before she tries to fit in some HSC study before bed.
I'm definitely really tired. Like I'm in like a hard year of school this year and it's just like always emphasized that we like study like when we get home, but I'm not home until like 7. And then I know that like sleep is so important for recovery and like I'm training literally all the time, so I need to be at my best like every day. Time is really precious and you have to really manage yourself well to get like the best results out of everything.
It's here. The weekend of the Kellogg's Nutri trials has finally arrived. Today, everyone is racing just for the chance to compete in the 2019-2020 Nutri series. Months and months of training have gone into preparing for this carnival. The stakes are high. The 20 athletes with the lowest point scores at the end of day 1 go through to the finals on day 2. Emily's feeling nervous.
Oh yeah, definitely now that we're like here, I'm like stressing so much, but like the warm-up will kind of clear my head, so hopefully it gets better from here on. But yeah, I'm actually super pumped as well. Yeah.
All the Newport athletes make it through the first day of racing with a spot in the finals for day 2. Not even a false start from another competitor throws Emily off her game.
Seeing you knowing that every single point counts with a sprint finish.
Yeah, it definitely does, because you don't know what's going to happen in those other races. So when you have the opportunity to do that, it's really good to take it and have a good day.
And Newport are just having such a great carnival already. We're only a few races.
But the pressure is on for day 2.
But today is similar to what we were telling you yesterday. Emily will grind all day. Emily will race. We could race here, stand on this beach for 6 hours and I could send Emily around that course. She wouldn't win, she wouldn't moan, she wouldn't complain. But it's really important, her spatial awareness going into cans and out of cans. You need to keep your momentum in and out. So we need her to just back herself to believe that she's done enough work, just keep paddling it to the shore, which she's really good at, but it hurts.
Today, only the top 6 athletes will get a place in the Nutri series. Emily's close. So far, her race results have put her in 8th place. She'll have to dig deep in this final race to climb up the rankings.
I hate starting races. I don't know, just like the feeling I get before I start a race. It's like this massive like overwhelming like just like sense of anxiety, I guess. because I like start like thinking about everything that could happen that shouldn't happen, and then I like start not like questioning myself, but I guess just like kind of freaking out, I guess.
No, they'll be across there further. All right, we will shuffle.
But then as soon as the race has started, that like all goes. As soon as the gun goes off, it's just like go.
A stumble just seconds into the race sends Emily straight to the back of the pack.
As soon as I fell over, I was like, you've like stuffed this up, like what the heck? Because I like starting a swim race off being out in front, and like because then you can just like get away from all the girls. But then after I'd fallen over, I was literally straight at the back, and then it's like swimming through the pack and like getting like punched and kicked and pulled, and you can't like just swim. You're more focused on like just not getting hit in the head. But then I was just like kind of just focus on moving up through the race. As soon as the race, and the last two legs were crossed, so I was like, normally I'd be like, oh yeah, try and get a wave in this leg, but there was no wave, so it was just kind of like, go hard until you cross the line, fingers crossed.
As they come in on the last leg, Emily's sitting in the middle of the pack.
What she needed to do, she needed to move through the field, she needed the points. This could be Carly Morgan booking her spot back in the Nutri Ironman series. Have a look at this photo, sprint finish. Miranda Goodwin, Daisy Hardstaff, Electra Outram, Emily Doyle as they come through tonight. Traffic. And there's going to be some heartbreaking. We'll do the calculations here, but what amazing racing.
But it's not enough.
Round 3, and it is done.
So go out there and see how they're going
Emily places 9th overall, just 6 points away from qualifying.
I was kind of hoping for a better result, but you know, you can't change what's happened. Like today was so short and so fast and so flat, so you really had to work hard, and I obviously just wasn't as good as the other girls. Made a few mistakes which really cost me points.
But she's not giving up.
I kind of thought about it when I finished with them, but like you can't just like give it all up over one race, so hopefully come back bigger and stronger next time.
But the future of the series is uncertain.
They have to get through 10 into 6. That's what happens after this race, 10 into 6. And away they
Nutri iron racing is an iconic part of life on Australia's beaches. The sport, based on saving lives and rescuing beachgoers, started in the 80s and has a rich history. But recently, Surf Life Saving Australia threw a spanner in the works when they tried to turn the traditional race format, that's been a fundamental part of the sport since it began, entirely on its head. Iron X. This was the SLSA's solution for getting more public attention, more sponsors, and more money back into the Nutri series. To be held after the last round of this season's series, Iron X incorporates not only the traditional Ironman disciplines, but it also features stand-up paddleboarding, CrossFit-style battleground obstacles, and an underwater component. Athletes and coaches were under the impression that the SLSA intended to make Iron X the new future of the sport, and this was met with outrage.
The context of it just seemed ludicrous to me. Yeah, it's an exciting novelty race idea, but to try to put it in as the kind of top of the pyramid of an actual established sport that had been a real keynote of surf life-saving sporting presence for so many years. Madness. Imagine if suddenly someone said to Roger Federer, okay, we're at Wimbledon, but like instead of just playing tennis, you're also going to run up this ladder, right? And then run along like a tightrope, and then down another ladder, and then you're going to fight a jaguar over there, and then you're going to come back and play more tennis. Like, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. It'd be pretty funny to watch, but I don't think Roger Federer would be really into it.
IronX is the brainchild of Mike Porra, an ex-Ironman athlete and the former CEO of Nitro Circus, who invented the Nitro World Games.
And I've watched closely as competition has basically, in my opinion, pretty well died. And it's really upsetting to see. It needs to be completely revolutionised and reformatted in every way. It's desperation stakes, I believe, for competition worldwide in action sports. We have to, and we need to, and we owe it to the sport to get in there and fix it.
But the surf racing community weren't going to let Mike Porra make the same radical changes to their sport. In response to the IronX event, athletes, coaches, families and friends banded together to speak out. The athletes spoke to newspapers, posted furiously on social media, and started a petition to take down IronX, which now has more than 5,000 signatures.
I think the core community for iron person racing in surf lifesaving is probably around 5,000 people. What I'd say there is you're getting a pretty unanimous vote from the whole surf racing community.
Max Brooks has been training with Newport for 2 decades, and last year it all paid off when he won the National Australian Ironman Championship. But just a few months ago, he threatened to quit the sport he loves altogether if its future looked anything like IronX.
It's just not a part of our sport, and it's kind of, essentially bringing in new things. It's almost asking NRL players to play with a soccer ball. It's just not what we do. We already train for 4 disciplines, and they want to bring in more aspects, which is, it's just not really feasible. We heard a few rumours and a few phone calls that they've said, you better, if you don't do this, you're retiring from the sport because this is the way the sport's going. So yeah, it was pretty disheartening, it's the sport we love, and it's pretty much the governing body telling us that our sport sucks and you've got to try a new sport. They weren't keen to discuss it. They said they were, but to throw, I think there's $200,000 prize money in the actual series over 5 rounds, and they've put $100,000 in prize money to this one-off day event. So they've said they've listened to us and said that they're not doing it next year in the series, which is good. But to say that they've fully listened to us, if they'd properly listened to it, they'd accept that none of us want to do it, and they would have scrapped it and put the money elsewhere.
Because it just kind of goes against the whole sport of surf life-saving, because it's life-saving. We're not going to go throw a tyre before we go on our stand-up paddleboard to swim to go rescue someone out the back after doing all this. I just thought it was a bit weird, a bit odd. And I'm just not really a fan of
it. While the future of the Nutri-Grain series is yet to be determined, one thing's for certain. Emily isn't going to give up on her dreams, her passion, or her family.
I see the kids I train with at the surf club, I kind of call them my second family, because we're just with each other for a large amount of time all the time, and we go away together, and I just kind of consider them just we're all one big family, because we're all so supportive of each other, and yeah, I just kind of love everyone to bits.